So as I say, this is all about the white liberals feeling better about themselves. That's really what so much of this is about. Here is just a pathological case in point. There's a piece called "I Think I've Screwed Up the Way My Kids Think About Race" by a woman named Michelle Herman over at slate.com. Dear Care and Feeding, my family is white. We live in a predominantly white neighborhood. However, our kids, twin boys, went to a local public charter elementary and middle school that was very diverse. When it was time for high school, our twins were lucky enough to have their closest friends from elementary and middle school attend the same school. Each of the boys had a diverse group of friends, and they were taken aback as freshmen in high school by the way other kids sat at tables in same-race clusters. The kids who'd gone to our small middle school, where tables were assigned by grade, continued to hang out at lunch together as a mixed group. Now my sons have graduated, and their closest friends are still a mix of black, Hispanic, and white kids. I've never been concerned about the kids having any issues around race, but one of our sons mentioned recently how irritated he is by the form he has to fill out regarding a college roommate. He has to specify his race, and all of the profiles of potential roommates he views also include race. He says all he cares about is if they are male or female and what their interests are. He doesn't care about race. With everything going on in the US right now, I'm doing more reading on racism. And if I'm understanding correctly, not caring about race is almost as bad as focusing only on race. Should he care what race his friends are, or is it okay for him to not even care or notice? Is there something we should be doing or talking to our kids about before they go to college, or is it too late? Are they just as racist as someone who has only white friends, or am I worrying about nothing? Okay, making a mountain out of a molehill, making a mountain out of an anthill, that's what this person calls themselves. Dear, making a mountain out of an anthill. I don't believe for a second you think your kids are racist. So this feels like a disingenuous question. One meant to challenge the idea that not caring about or not noticing race is itself racist. So I will say this. Not caring about or noticing race is a privilege reserved for people who are white. Black and brown people in the US do not have that luxury. And not just with everything going on right now, but ever. And that's the thing you should be talking to your kids about for starters. As the sociologist Megan Underhill, who studies race and family, has said, white people aren't outside of race. They're at the top of the racial hierarchy. Dismissing or downplaying this reality only perpetuates inequity and violence. It's great your kids have grown up with a diverse group of friends. It ought to be the norm. But non-racism is only the first step toward a more just society. Anti-racism requires more of us. I trust that your sons would embrace the opportunity to learn how to take the next steps. I urge you to take them right along with your kids. You see, you're evil. Your kids have a diverse group of friends, and they don't care what the race of their roommate is because they're racist. They're not anti-racist enough, which means that they are racist. You feel better about yourselves? Woke white authorities making the world worse? Literally making the world worse. Just tearing down statues of great Americans and talking about how all of American history is evil and how nothing unifies us, and how if you have a diverse group of friends and you just tend to think of them as your friends, that's because you're just a bad white person. You're just a bad, evil white person, because black and brown people, we know, have to think in terms of race. But if you're a white person and you have a bunch of black and brown friends, well, you're probably a racist if you don't see them as black and brown friends, because you have to see people in terms of race in order to what exactly? In order to what? In order to make rectification for your white guilt? This is how far we have come.